This is Tales and Whispers, where every story is felt, not just heard.
Today, we're diving into a short but incredibly powerful story that all takes place on a simple train journey. It's one of those stories that really makes you stop and think, challenging us to look past what's right in front of our eyes.
So I want you to picture this. You're on a train, just watching the world rush by, and there's a young man, he's about 24 years old, sitting by the window right next to his father. Seems like a totally normal, everyday moment, but it's not. All of a sudden, the young man shouts this out loud. With the kind of pure, unfiltered excitement you'd expect from a little kid. He's just totally mesmerized by what he's seeing. Now remember, he's 24, so an outburst like that, well, it immediately seems a little off, doesn't it? And what about the father's reaction? You know, you might expect him to be a little embarrassed, maybe tell his son to quiet down, but nope. He just looks at him and breaks into this calm, simple smile, just soaking in his son's joy. But as you can imagine, not everyone else on the train is seeing it that way.
And this is right where the story takes a turn, because this is the moment where judgment creeps in. You know how our brains are, right? When we see something that doesn't quite fit our expectations, we rush to put a label on it, just to make it make sense.
So sitting nearby, there's a young newlywed couple, and they're watching this whole thing unfold. They see this 24-year-old man acting with what they think is childish wonder, and their immediate reaction isn't curiosity. It's pity. They've already made up their minds and written a whole story about him based on this one little moment.
And then it happens again, another excited shout. The young man's joy is just pouring out of him, completely uninhibited. For the couple watching though, this just confirms everything they were already thinking. Their judgment is now basically set in stone.
And there it is. They just can't hold it in any longer. The couple leans over and asks the father this question, straight up. Their feeling of pity has now turned into unsolicited advice. A clear judgment on the father, his parenting, and his son's condition.
Okay, get ready because this is the pivot. The entire story is about to flip on its head. In just one sentence, the father is about to say something that will completely dismantle the reality the couple has built in their minds. The father just calmly replies with this quiet, stunning revelation. We just did. We're coming from the hospital. My son was blind from birth. Today is the first day he can see. Wow, just let that sink in. In that single moment, everything the couple thought they knew is turned completely upside down. That childish behavior? It wasn't a sign of a problem. It was the pure, unfiltered awe of someone experiencing sight for the very first time in his life. The trees really were brand new. The clouds really were a miracle. With that one little piece of context, the whole story just transforms, doesn't it? It goes from being a scene of perceived tragedy into this incredibly profound lesson about empathy, about perception, and about just how dangerous our own assumptions can be.
So, what exactly went on here? Well, the couple made a classic hasty judgment. They took a few tiny scraps of information, the man's age and his excited behavior, and they built an entire, completely wrong story around him, filling in all the massive gaps with their own assumptions.
This simple story really leaves us with two incredibly important things to remember. First, to try and resist that initial knee-jerk impulse to judge. And second, to make a real effort to find out more, to understand that what we're seeing is almost never the whole picture. It's a reminder to just approach every situation with a little more humility and a lot more curiosity.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to take with us. Every single person we meet is living a story that's just as deep and complex as our own, filled with all kinds of struggles and triumphs that we know absolutely nothing about. So this story asks us a really simple but profound question. In our own lives, how often are we the couple on the train? And what crucial, beautiful truths are we not seeing in other people?